Israel has just launched a preemptive strike on Iran. Take a look at this clip over here with Bibi Netanyahu describing what is the goal of this attack and what we're hoping to see in the upcoming days. Let's clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch and keep you informed of everything going on as it happens. Check this out.
Moments ago, it launched Operation Rising, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped. Iran is now working on what it calls the new plan to destroy Israel. You see, the old plan failed. Iran and its proxies tried to encircle Israel with a ring of fire and to attack us with the horrible attack of October 7th. But the people of Israel, the soldiers of Israel, rose like lions to defend our country. We crushed Hamas, we devastated Hezbollah, we hit Iranian proxies in Syria and Yemen. And when Iran directly attacked us twice last year, we struck back inside Iran itself. Yet in defending ourselves, we also defend others. We defend our Arab neighbors. They too have suffered from Iran's campaign of chaos and carnage. Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran, and I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. That the day of your liberation is the friendship between our two ancient peoples will flourish once again. I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons. And Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make the nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan. And this is why for decades, it's led millions in the chants of death to Israel and death to America. Today, Israel is responding to those genocidal calls with action and with a call of our own. Long live Israel and long live America. Our action will help make the world a much safer place. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in confronting Iran's nuclear weapons program. He has made clear time and again that Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. Today, it is clear that Iran is just buying for time. It refuses to agree to this basic requirement of peaceful nations. That is why we have no choice but to act, and act now. The hardest decision any leader has to make is to thwart a danger before it is fully materialized. Nearly a century ago, facing the Nazis, a generation of leaders failed to act in time. They were paralyzed by the horrors of World War I. They were determined to avoid war at all costs, and they got the worst war ever. They adopted a policy of appeasement. They closed their eyes and ears to all the warnings. That failure to act resulted in World War II, the deadliest war in history. It claimed the lives of 60 million, including 6 million Jews, a third of my people. After that war, the Jewish people and the Jewish state vowed, never again. Well, never again is now. Today, Israel has shown that we have learned lessons of history. When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them. As the Bible teaches us, when someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves. Over 3,000 years ago, Moses gave the people of Israel a message that has steeled their resolve ever since. Be strong and courageous, he said. Today, our strong and courageous soldiers and people together to defend ourselves, to defend many others, and we roll back a murderous tyranny. Generations from now, history will record that our generation stood its ground, acted in time, and secured our common future. May God bless Israel. May God bless the forces of civilization everywhere. Thank you.
So Secretary of State Marco Rubio has already commented that the United States did not have any direct hand in this, that this is Israel acting unilaterally. And the Secretary of State has also sent message to Iran not to dare strike any U.S. military personnel anywhere else in the across the world. Let's take a look at some of the one of the latest updates that are happening from Israel. That was Prime Minister Netanyahu. Take a look over here at the latest update. Check this out.
A series of preemptive airstrikes against Iran right now. Explosions reported in the capital. Trey is in Jerusalem with the latest. Trey, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jesse, good evening. Fox News can confirm that the Israeli Air Force is currently striking Iranian nuclear facilities and long-range missile capabilities. This is a significant strike that is expected to take place in a series of waves. According to an IDF official, the opening wave targeted more than a dozen different sites. Explosions were reported around the capital of Tehran, and as we speak, a state of emergency has been declared across Israel as the Israelis are bracing for possible Iranian retaliation. I want to take you through how we learned about strikes taking place. At 2:16 a.m. local time, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee tweeted that there was something going on. He says, at our embassy in Jerusalem and closely following the situation, we will remain here all night. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. 45 minutes later, sirens started to sound across central Israel. We could hear them here in Tel Aviv. And then moments later, a text alert from Israel's Home Front Command warning people to be prepared for special instructions, at which point a statement was sent out. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz declaring that state of emergency across the country. We have seen Iranian retaliation following Israeli strikes just last year, and it could involve a series of different things, including ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. But again, the latest information, Jesse, that we can confirm tonight, the Israelis are striking Iranian territory, targeting the country's nuclear program. This comes just 2 days before a sixth round of conversations were set to take place between U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian officials in Oman. President Trump spoke today about the situation, the tension across the region, saying that he was hoping for a deal and hoping that diplomacy would prevail. He has consistently talked about the diplomatic efforts that have been made by the Trump administration. And this is important to note because when we look at the information that we're receiving right now, one U.S. official telling Fox News tonight that the United States was not involved in these strikes that took place against Iranian nuclear facilities and long-range missile capabilities. Again, we expect these strikes to continue, possibly throughout this evening, and Israel right now is bracing for the possibility of Iranian retaliation. Just to give you a sense, Jesse, of how Israel is bracing, they are ensuring that all of the air defense systems across this country are on high alert. When you and I talked earlier in the conflict between Israel and Hamas inside Gaza, we often talked about Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system. Tonight, the alert is for David's Sling and the Arrow system. These are more advanced systems capable of shooting down medium and long-range incoming ballistic missiles. You have to remember, though, there's also one THAAD missile defense system deployed here with American forces and also 2 Patriot missile defense systems provided by the United States. We have seen over the past several months American cargo planes landing in Israel, preparing for the possibility that the Israelis would be striking Iran. And again, tonight, that is taking place as we speak, a significant development and an indication that the Israelis are planning to continuously strike Iranian nuclear facilities to the best of their ability, stop the Iranian nuclear program that has been expanding. Just one other point before I toss it back to you, Jesse, that's important in the context of today. We learned that the International Atomic Energy Agency passed a resolution earlier today for the first time in 20 years, saying that the Iranians are not living up to their obligations when it comes to their nuclear programs. And by passing this resolution, the Iranians responded then, saying that they would start enriching uranium at a third nuclear facility. And you can hear some sirens, and I just want to see if we can get what this alert is. It's in Hebrew, but we'll get the translation for you shortly. Give me 1 second, Jesse. I'm going to toss it back to you, and I'm going to get the translation of this income.
So once again, the United States was not involved in any part of the attack. This is a unilateral Israel decision. And the truth of the matter is that Israel is a sovereign country in its own right, makes its own decisions. It is an ally of the United States, but doesn't mean the United States needs to get involved in everything that goes on in Israel. And many times, Israel's interests and America's interests are lined up. Israel and all Western countries certainly benefit from a denuclearized Iran. So this is something that is beneficial for those in the West, for Israel, for the United States. And the truth of the matter is, to be honest, I think a lot of us know that many nations in the Arab world as well, maybe not publicly, but certainly privately, are very happy with what's going on. Places like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, all of these, we tend to think of the Arab world as sort of monolithic. It's really not the case. They can't necessarily show it in any sort of public way because the Arab culture doesn't really present itself to be cheering on the IDF as they go and bomb Tehran. But in the attack of military installations, this is something certainly that many in the Arab world are at least secretly rejoicing over. It's something that, as far as what we can do on our part, first and foremost, as that we pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We should all take an opportunity to pray that all of the soldiers execute all of the top military officials and thwart all of the intentions of the Iranian regime to acquire nuclear capabilities. There's already been reports that some of the top military and nuclear scientists have been taken out, which is something that is very good for the world as a whole. We hope that continue along its path and go swiftly and finish in a swift a way that is as swift as possible. Secondly, we always have to remember that our job is to look to the Torah. And what does the Torah say in this week's Torah portion? This week's Torah portion talks about God instructing Moses to instruct Aaron, the high priest, his brother, to light the menorah, or light the 7-branch candelabra in the tabernacle. And one of the things that we find, interestingly enough, 7 branches representing the 7 days of the week. All of nature finds its completion in 7, right? 7 notes on the music scale, 7 colors of the rainbow. That we find as a segue, once the tabernacle was no more and the holy temple was built by Solomon, was completed by Solomon in Jerusalem, one of the things that we find in 1 Kings chapter 7 is that King Solomon erects 10 menorahs, 10 candelabras, which had 7 branches each, totaling the number 70. And one of the things that we're taught is that there are 70 nations in the world that are described in the book of Genesis, that are the sort of root nations across the world. And every light represented one of the nations of the world, because the light of Jerusalem is meant to illuminate the entire world. And that certainly has always been the goal and the case. They were supposed to be a light unto the nations, like it says in Isaiah. We as individuals are supposed to do. It says also, King Solomon writes in 1 Kings chapter 8, right, Malachim Aleph, that when he's consecrating the temple for use in Jerusalem, that he prays to God that it be a place of prayer and a place of comfort, not only for the Jewish community but for the entire world. That the entire world benefited from the light of the Torah that shined from Jerusalem. And so one of the things that we can do, certainly while the military matters are going on, is to activate light and prayer. We can add light in our own communities, amongst our own families, friends, pray for and with those that are in our local vicinity, and adding light to the world certainly eradicates evil and darkness. So we can each do our part by doing that, and that's an instruction in this week's Torah portion for us all to really embrace. All right. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.